If I could take over your Amazon business tomorrow and could only focus on improving one metric for the next 30 days, it probably wouldn't be PPC. I'd focus on improving your click-through rate because I've seen brands spend thousands of dollars trying to grow through more advertising while completely ignoring the metric that's actually limiting everything else in their business. Hi, my name is Vijay, and I've scaled my own headphones brand on Amazon to over $6 million in annual revenue. And today, I'm the founder of Keystone Growth Partners, where we serve over 65 brands operating between $20,000 to $200,000 a month. In today's video, I'm going to show you why click-through rate is one of the most important growth levers on Amazon, how it impacts your rankings, your advertising efficiency, and ultimately your revenue, and also show you the exact framework we use when evaluating listings for brands we work with. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where your click-through rate is leaking and what to do about it. So let's dive in. So before we get into optimization, let's make sure we're actually talking about the same thing. Click-through rate, or CTR, is simply the percentage of shoppers who click on your product after seeing it on the Amazon search results page. For example, if 100 people scroll through your product on the Amazon search results page, and let's say 5 people click on your listing and land inside of it, your click-through rate is 5%. But here's why it matters. The click-through rate is really just the first part of your funnel, because at the search results page, you're actually competing with hundreds of other listings on Amazon. So you don't actually have the customer's full attention until they actually click on your product and land inside of it. So you could have the best conversion rate in your category. You could have incredible reviews. You could have the most sophisticated PPC strategy. But if you're not able to get enough shoppers to click on your product and get them inside of the listing, then none of those other things really matter much. And it's also important to understand that click-through rate often creates a compounding effect through the entire funnel. So while it is important to get people inside of your listing, a higher CTR technically does lead to more clicks lead to more sales, and more sales lead to improved relevance signals to the algorithm. And therefore, better relevance often helps organic rankings, and organic rankings create more visibility. It's one of the few Amazon metrics that can positively influence several other metrics further down the funnel at the same time. So let's talk now about how to improve it. Most sellers often jump straight into image testing or PPC adjustments, but the reality is that if the product itself isn't aligned with what shoppers want, optimization can only take you so far. So whenever we evaluate a category, one of the first things we do is study customer feedback. Not just positive reviews, but negative reviews, because negative reviews tell you exactly where customer expectations are not being met. So we go through the top competitors in your category, and then we ask, what do customers consistently complain about? What features do they wish existed? What frustrates them after the purchase? What are buyers repeatedly praising? And soon enough, patterns do emerge surprisingly quickly. So the goal is not to create just a different product altogether, but the goal is to create a more compelling solution to the same problem. So when shoppers immediately recognize that your product addresses the issues they've experienced with competing products, your CTR naturally improves because your offer feels more relevant. If there's one asset I would obsess over, it's the main image. Think about how people actually shop on Amazon. Think about how you actually shop on Amazon. At the search results page, typically customers don't really read the titles first. They don't really see the bullet points. They actually scan images. So your main images has one job and one job only, just to get the click. That's it. The best performing images typically do 3 things. First, they immediately stand out from competitors. Second, they clearly communicate what the product is. And third, they reinforce a key value proposition without creating confusion. And many sellers focus exclusively on compliance. So of course, compliance matters. We don't want to get suppressed or delisted by Amazon, but standing out in a crowded marketplace really matters today. So when we audit listings, it's very common to find brands spending thousands every month on ads while sending traffic to an image that looks nearly identical to pretty much every competitor on page 1. And that's essentially leaving money on the table. Now, reviews aren't just a conversion factor, they're actually a click factor. When shoppers see 2 similar products side by side, they're naturally drawn towards the one that appears more trusted. The focus should always be on generating reviews through Amazon compliant methods and delivering a product experience that naturally encourages positive feedback. The brands that consistently win long term are usually the brands that make customer satisfaction part of the product strategy rather than treating reviews as an afterthought. Now, many sellers assume that lower prices automatically generate more clicks. Now, that's not always true. Price does send a signal too high, and shoppers may hesitate. But at the same time, if it's too low, shoppers may just question quality. The goal is to find the pricing position that impact on traffic, conversion rate, and overall profitability, because sometimes a higher price actually does perform better because it aligns with customer expectations for a more premium product. Now, coupons can significantly improve click-through rate because they create visual contrast inside the search results. The keyword here is strategic. You don't want to train customers to buy only when you're discounted. We don't want that. Instead, test promotions intentionally and evaluate whether the increase in clicks and conversions justifies the margin impact. For subscription-friendly categories like supplements and personal care, subscribe and save incentives can be particularly powerful because you're not just acquiring one customer, you're actually acquiring a customer who is potentially going to repeat with you several times in the future. Now, Amazon sellers expect convenience. That's why they're there on Amazon. If your delivery rates are significantly lower than competing offers, that can absolutely affect shopper behavior. This is one reason inventory planning is just so important. Running out of stock, it actually just doesn't hurt sales in the short term. It can disrupt your entire momentum in terms of rankings and advertising performance. Badges like bestseller can have a meaningful impact because they provide instant social proof. Now, you shouldn't build your entire strategy around just chasing badges, but when you do earn them naturally through strong sales performance, they can increase shopper confidence and improve click-through rates. The important thing is understanding that shoppers make decisions incredibly quickly. So anything that builds trust in those first few seconds can influence whether they click on your product or someone else's. So to sum up, here's the mistake that I see sellers make all the time is that they look at CTR as a listing problem. But in reality, CDR is really the culmination of everything else that's working together. It's your product, it's your positioning, it's your images, your reviews, your pricing, your inventory, your offer. So when those pieces align, then click-through rate improves naturally. And when click-through rate improves, the rest of the funnel and the rest of the flywheel becomes so much more easier to scale. So if you're looking for the fastest place to find additional revenue in your Amazon business, don't just blindly fire up your ad spend. Start by looking at how many shoppers are seeing your product and choosing not to click. That gap is often where the biggest growth opportunity lives. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments what your biggest challenge on Amazon is right now. I read as many comments as I can and use them to shape future videos. And if you'd like a second set of eyes on your Amazon business, my team here at Keystone offers strategy calls where we review growth opportunities, identify bottlenecks, and show you where the biggest gains are likely to come from. You can book a call using the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.